Hello, my name is Brad Phillips. I'm here with Puppy Steps Training. We're going to be doing Rita's demonstration for you today. We're very excited to send her home to you. I think you'll find that she's a wonderful dog and you're going to be really pleased with the way that she's turned out. So in this demonstration we are going to go through all 5 steps of our program, and we'll cover our socialization, our manners, basic obedience, house training, and leash training. And before we get into that, there's just a few things that I like to address at the beginning. First is I just want to remind you that she is a puppy as well as she is a living and breathing animal. And so because of that, she's subject to change, whether it be environmental change, like when she's coming to you, it's going to be a transition period, as well as they're subject to stress and anxiety and things like that. And so for the first 2 weeks, you're going to have to let her transition into your home. Don't get frustrated with her if she doesn't immediately do something. The key is just being consistent, as well as always ending on a correct behavior. If she breaks a stay, take her back, have her do it again, make sure that she does it correct. Now if you need to, you can ease the length or the distraction of whatever you're doing, but make sure you're always ending on a correct behavior. And I can't emphasize it enough, just be consistent with what you do. The other thing I like to cover is our marker words. So our marker and our release word is okay. Marks the correct behavior, releases from a stay. We also have a marker for, or a correction term, which is no. So if she does something wrong, I'm going to tell her no, I'll make her do it again. Now if it's something a little bit more serious, you need to adjust yourself so that she can read your body language and your voice fluctuation, and you can give her more of a firm correction that way to let her know that she did something wrong and that you are definitely not happy with it. So with that, we'll jump into our manners section, and we'll start with her gates and her doorways. So anytime she goes through the crate or through the house door, I expect her to hold a stay. Now that should be an automatic behavior. I shouldn't have to tell her to stay. Now if she ever does break, I might close the door or block her and make sure that she stays and she waits for me to release her. So we'll let her out. Okay. Now I'll show you that we do that same thing over here at the man door when we go out. But we'll just continue on through our manners. But the next manner is what she's doing right here. It's her greeting. Anytime she approaches me or I call her to me, I expect her to sit before I give her any attention. And so I'll spin her around, actually. Come here. There we go. That way I'll let her approach me. Just so that you can see she's going to sit before I even give her any attention. Good girl. Now that's going to help with jumping or wrapping you up with a leash, anything like that. You want to make sure that she's planted. Now we'll show you her mealtime manners. So anytime I feed her, I expect her to hold a sit stay. Come here. Come here. Come on. Alright, bring her over here so you can see. Sit. Stay. Now, waiting for the food is a great time to really build those stays. We have what we call the 3 Ds, and that's distance, duration, and distraction. And so talking is a great distraction. I can move her food bowl around. If she breaks, stay. I might just ease the distraction, so I won't talk as much, but I can move her food bowl. You just want to add all these things to really build up a solid stay. Okay, there you go, good girl. Now, also during her meal, I like to make an effort to put my hand down in her food bowl, make sure that she's not aggressive over her food. Now, that's really important because a lot of people will think that they have the kindest dog in the world, and then they're surprised when a toddler crawls over and sticks their hand down there and they get growled or nipped at. And so we want to avoid any type of aggression like that. Now, with feeding, now when you eat, I would recommend putting her in a crate. That way you're preventing any begging or bad habits that way. And then I would feed her after. Now I feed her about 1.5 cups in the morning and 1.5 cups at night. In the morning it's usually first thing. Sometimes it's variable if we really want to work with her and keep her food drive high. So usually around 7 o'clock, and in the evening we try and feed them as close to 6 o'clock as possible, just so that they have a good 4 hours or so to have a bowel movement before we put them to bed. Now, going along with food aggression, we also want to make sure that she's not going to be aggressive over toys or bones or anything like that. And so we really make an emphasis of playing with them, handling them, things like that to prevent against that aggression. And when I say handling, I mean touching her ears, her paws, her tail, all these sensitive areas of a dog. We would just want to make sure that she's not going to be aggressive over. And the most common type of aggression is actually mistaken for aggression, and that's when they play with children. Children are the greatest thing in the world. They're the perfect size, they run, they squeal, they're fun to chase, and so the puppy just wants to play along. They end up grabbing a pant leg or an arm or something like that, and so we want to make sure that anytime she plays with children, they have a toy. That's something that she can grab onto if they want to have her chase them, as well as if she gets too close, they can throw it and have her chase it. As well as we've taught her to drop things on command. So with the toy, I'm just going to tell her drop it, and I expect her to give it up. Drop that. Good girl. Now you want to be careful with these soft toys because their teeth can get caught in them. And then if you try and yank it out, you'll end up pulling a tooth or injuring them or something like that. So always make sure that she physically opens her mouth. So along with drop it, and her physically giving it up, you also want to make sure that if she ever does find something that she just really wants to hold on to, that you know how to get it away. And so if she's not going to drop it on command, there's two things that I would do. One is I would hold it if it's long enough on both sides, and so that if you hold it tight and you make it very unappealing. And that way she can't pull, she can't make it fun, basically. And if she still doesn't give it up, I'll just twist in and I'll use my knuckles to pinch her cheek against her canines. Just makes it uncomfortable, just causing her to open her mouth. Now, if she really doesn't want to give something up, I'll just actually stick my thumb inside her mouth and push down on her tongue. It's like pushing a button, they just open their mouth. And so that's if she ever does just want to hold on to something and doesn't want to give anything up. So, yeah. Other manners that we work on is we want to make sure that she's very cautious with her teeth. And so we've instilled the command gently. And so if she's really excited, I'll tell her gently before I even try and give her a treat. Whereas if she just jumps at my hand or tries to grab the treat, I'll pull it back and say gently. And at that point, I expect her to be very cautious when taking the treat. It's also important that you give her the treat in the palm of your hand and not between your thumb and forefinger. If you do it that way, you're kind of asking her to bite your fingers. So, come here. So I just tell her gently and expect her to be very careful taking that treat. And she's a very gentle dog anyway, so you shouldn't have to really worry about that. So a couple more manners that we work on. One would be jumping. Jumping's my biggest pet peeve, and she has been a very jumpy dog. So you want to make sure that she understands that you are the leader and that she's not allowed to jump on you. And that's also where the greeting comes in. I expect her to be planted before I give her attention. Now, if you can tell she's going to jump on you, she's running at you full bore, it's really important that you never step back. As soon as you step back, if she's trying to jump, you're encouraging that jump. You're giving her the space that she needs to get up. Instead, you want to step into the jump, really restrict that space, and hopefully it'll deter her from jumping. If she does then jump, I'm just simply going to bring my knee up and block her from getting to my face. Now, if you catch them right, they'll fall on their back, and that's actually what you want. By putting a dog on their back, you're showing leadership, you're showing dominance, that you are above them in the rankings. Now, if she does find someone, whether it be in your family or a friend, that she just really thinks that she needs to jump on, she thinks that she's a leader over them, a great exercise you can do is take her by the leash, have that person call her to them, and let her go up. As soon as she tries to jump, give her a leash correction, which is 2 little tugs on the leash, and say no, and turn around and walk the other way. You're just restricting that jump. And I'll do that a handful of times, however long it takes for her then to approach and sit down and not try and jump. Now, the other, I think the last one of our manners is chewing. With that, we train on a base of avoiding and replacing. So if you can avoid giving her free access to shoes or toys, that's the best way to prevent any accidents from happening that way. Now, that's not really possible in your house. There's always going to be something she has access to, whether it be a table leg or her bed or something like that. And so that's when replacing comes in. If I see her start to chew on her bed, I'm going to tell her no, and I'll give her something of equal texture. And so if she tries to chew on your table leg, I'll tell her no, and I'll give her something like a bully stick, something hard that she can really get into. But where she is a puppy, she has to chew. She's right in the middle of teething, and so she just needs to relieve that pressure. And so if she's lounging around the house, it's just best to give her something to chew on. So if I have a downtime and watching TV, I'll give her a bully stick and let her just lay there and chew. It's also important that with toys or anything, that as soon as she gets up and leaves, you pick it up. She doesn't have just free access to it. If she does, that causes boredom, and as soon as they get bored with one object, they'll go and try and find something new. So, I believe that's it for our manners, and so with that we'll jump into our obedience commands. Now, with our obedience commands, we have 8 big ones that we focus on, and that's come, watch me, sit, stay, down, stay, crate, and go to bed. And so we're going to show you those, starting with the most basic, which is watch me and come. And we teach those from day 1. Those are very elementary commands, and so just very basic. If I ask her to come, I expect her to come. Rita, come! Okay. Now, it's just nothing much, just her coming to you. Now, that command is the biggest one that everybody kills. And that's because when do you call your dog to come? Usually to end something that they're doing, whether they probably think it's fun and you don't want them to be doing it, or it's time to leave the park, or something of that sort, something that they can build a negative association to the word. And so I really want to preserve the integrity of that command because it is such a vital command. And so, one, I keep a rule of 10 to 1. I want to call her to come to me 10 times for every 1 time that I have to call her to come. Also, if I don't have to call her, I won't. And so, let me back up, I said that wrong. So I want to call her 10 times to me, give her a reward, and let her go for every 1 time that I have to call her to come. That way, when I do really need her to come, she's just going to come, and without any hesitations, there's going to be a positive association with the word. And so then, if I don't have to call her to come, I won't. And so if I'm in the house, I might just, come here, something of that sort, just to get her up and to me, and that way you're still preserving that command. And really with all the commands, I try and keep that rule of 10 to 1. That way, like with the crate for instance, you're not, every time you use the command crate, you're not just locking her up, but there is a reward in there. And so she's not associating with being locked up with the word. Things of that sort. So now, watch me, once again, is a very basic command. All I'm asking for is her to look at me. So we'll see if we can distract her a little bit. Watch me. Okay, just getting her eye contact. That's all it is. And that's a great one to practice. It'll help her get used to the way that you reward her, things like that. And it's kind of a funny command. A lot of people don't understand why we do it. But one, it can be a life-saving command. If she's just focused on something, running out into traffic, you just need her to stop and look at you. And so when I do Watch Me, I mean, I'll do it a handful of times in a row, just giving her a reward. And so it's very positive. She'll just stop and look at you. As well as maybe you're in the kitchen cooking and you drop a steak on the floor, you just need her to look at you. And so, great one to practice. Maybe she'll look away now. Watch me. She did. But the next three commands have hand signals. And that's sit, which is a scoop over the nose. Down, which I'll just take my hand flat and go down. And then stay. And so both down and sit have stays attached. Come here. Which I'll show you right here. Come here. Now she's going to sit. Stay. Okay, good girl. Now same thing with the down stay, other than in order to put her in a down, I'll always put her in a sit first. Rita, sit, down, stay. Okay, good girl, good girl. So anytime you're doing like a chain command like that where I'm telling her to sit and then lay down and then stay, I'll give her the treat at the end. Now, the next two commands, they don't necessarily have hand signals, but I'll always put myself in a position where she can read my body language. And so like go to bed, I'll just point. Rita, go to bed. Hey, go to bed. Now, I don't care what position she's in, as long as all four paws are on the bed, as well as she's expected to stay. Okay. Now, you saw, though, that she hesitated there. Now, that's something that a lot of times they'll do. You just got to give them time to think. If they don't figure it out, you can then repeat the command. But after they hesitate, I would also do it a few more times. Come here. If we can even get her off the bed. Come here. There you go. Rita, go to bed. Good girl. Okay, girl. And that's going to be the same with the crate command. I'm just going to open it and I'll tell her crate and I'll point. Rita, crate. Very good girl. And I also expect her to stay. Okay. Good girl. Sit. So, that's it for our obedience commands, and we'll move into our house training. Alright, so we're going to talk about our house training. Now, I'm going to teach you how to introduce the bell the same way we do, because this is going to be the part that's the most involved for you. Most of the basic obedience, the manners, those things will pass on very smoothly, pretty easy. Now, the house training, you're going to have to teach her what door you're using, where it's alright to go to the bathroom, as well as around your house. And so, what I would do is as soon as you get her home, I would take her back to wherever you want her to use the bathroom. Pace her around for a minute or two, give her an opportunity to sniff, as well as to go to the bathroom. Now, as soon as she goes, you want to mark the behavior. And so when I say that, our marker word for going to the bathroom is good outside. And so I'll tell her, good outside, good girl, and you want to make it very rewarding the first time that she goes and give her treats and loves and make it very positive. After that point, you're going to bring her in, and that's when you're going to target the bell. And so I will show you how I do that. take away your bully stick, I guess. Hey! Hey! It's right here. There you go. So, I will warn you that as soon as I do this, she'll ring the bell numerous times. And so, that's what we want. The first time when you're transitioning or targeting the bell, you want her to ring it as many times as possible. That way you're getting a lot of repetitions. She's seeing the bell, she's seeing the door, and she's seeing the area where she's going to go to the bathroom. And so, to start, I'll sit her in front of me just like this. Come here. And I'll just hang the bell. Okay. And every time she touches it, I'm going to say, okay, come here. I'm going to have to take away the bed, huh? Okay. Okay. So you'll do this a handful of times. Okay. Make it very positive. It's making it very positive. It's almost like a game. And then I'll bring her over to the bell, or to the door. Come here. And I'll stand next to the door and I'll do the same thing. Okay. Okay. And after she does that a couple of times, I'll hang it on the door. And I want her to ring it a few times here. Okay. And I'll switch from using okay to outside. Outside. I want to make sure that she rings the bell like that. She missed. Okay, outside. Now this next time we're going to take her out. Outside. Now after you do take her out, outside. Every time after that she rings the bell, you're taking her out. And she's expected to wait. Okay. You want her to sniff around, you want her to find her scent so that provokes her to go. As well as just every so often I'm going to tell her outside. Outside. Easy. Outside. 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 Let's go. Okay, get outside, good girl. Get outside. And then we'll go right back in. Cool. Hey. Okay. Now I'll give her that bully stick, just because once you do that, she'll ring the bell quite a bit because she's looking for those rewards, those treats. Now, when you initially do it for the first time, I would do 3 or 4 repetitions right here. So that last time she rang the bell, sit outside, we walked out, I would do that 4 times, where bring her back in, let her ring the bell, tell her outside, go out, come back in. If she doesn't go, come back in, wait 5 minutes, do it again. You just want to make sure that you're giving her every opportunity to go. And that when she does go, you're very positive, very rewarding. Now, after targeting the bell like that, then I would set a timer for 30 minutes. And for the rest of the day, I would take her out every 30 minutes. When I do that, I take her over to the bell, allow her to ring it, and then go out. Pace around for a minute or 2, come back in. It's very important that you never let her play when she rings the bell, because you really want to distinguish between going to the bathroom and going outside and playing. So now, along with house training, I would make sure that you leave a leash attached that she can drag around. That way, if you do need to quickly grab her, you can. And you want to keep 100% supervision. And that's one point that I can't emphasize enough. Make sure you have 100% supervision. She's not familiar with your house. She's not familiar with where the bell's at. And so you do not want to allow her to get lost or get confused and have an accident. And so, really, 100% supervision. Now, a couple things to look for when she's inside. Say she fell asleep on the bed. As soon as she wakes up, generally they have to go to the bathroom. So take her over to the bell, take her outside. If she's laying down or with you and she gets up and starts sniffing really heavily, take her out. She probably needs to go. As well as I would take her out within about an hour of feeding her. So, use that 30-minute timer. After about a day, start to progressively move back towards 2 hours, which is our standard. And I'm completely confident in her that she can be 2 hours inside without needing a break, as well as seeking out the bell. But for the next 2 weeks, she's really learning where it's at and what she's allowed to get away with in your house. And so you want to make sure that you set that standard. The other thing is, if you can't give her that 100% supervision, put her in her crate. She's very comfortable in there. We work really hard to make sure that that's the way that it is. We use her crate as an asset. And so she's completely comfortable in there for 4 hours during the day without needing a break. And she sleeps through the night 8 to 10 hours without needing a break. Now, with that being said, for the first couple nights, if she does start to whine in her crate in the middle of the night, she may have had like a loose stool, and so you might want to just take her out to the bathroom, but then bring her right back in and put her in the crate. If she does start to whine, as soon as you put her in the crate, let her just kind of whine and comfort herself, because she's looking to see if you'll let her out from crying. And you don't want to just let her out as soon as you just put her back in, or give her, well, just teach her that she can get out if she cries, so I would avoid that. If you do have any questions with house training, please give me a call. I'll help you the best that I can and make sure that the transition is as smooth as possible. That is, like I said, it's the most important part, and she's doing wonderfully here, and we want to make sure that that's the way it is at your house. So with that, we'll move into our leash training, and we take them on 2 types of walks. The first is an off leash or a long lead walk, and that's just for her to be a dog. We take her into the mountains or down by the river, let her run and sniff and play and really just relax. And when I do that, I really work on come, because I'll take a pocket full of treats, and every minute or two I'll call her to me, give her a treat, and let her go again. And so it turns into a game. She's checking in, she's staying close, as well as really strengthening that come. The second type of walk is an attention walk, which we'll actually go outside and show you. And with that, we have 2 commands that we teach them. One is let's go, just signifying we're moving. And the second is easy. And that's if she's ever pulling. Now, with easy, you will want to pay attention whether she's pulling or just kind of leaning against the leash. Because sometimes when they're out, they're just trying to see that boundary, and so they might lean against the leash. And you don't want to give them a hard correction or anything like that if they're not really pulling. So if she does start to pull, I'm going to tell her easy, and I'll give her a simple leash correction, and I expect her to put the slack back in the leash. Now, if she's really pulling, just trying to get at something, I'll tell her let's go, and I'll walk the other direction and let her regain her composure. So we'll go outside now and show you that. Okay. Okay. So I would just pay attention to the way that she walks with me and the way that she responds. Let's go. Let's go. saw the way that she responded when I said easy when she walked over to her cameraman. That's exactly what I want. As well as I want her to walk next to me in a basic heel and to continue to check in. But Rita's a wonderful dog. We've really enjoyed her, and I think you'll enjoy her as well. We appreciate you allowing us to train her and send her to you. So thank you.